Hey you guys, it's Crystal from the Abundantly Blessed Homestead. For those of you who are on the live, I'm in the greenhouse. My husband still has not gotten the receiver cell booster thing installed. It's not something that I can do because it involves getting on the roof. And so I tried to go live tonight. Many of you guys were on. You guys saw this same thing behind me into the greenhouse. Because I had done some testing with my cell phone, and in my greenhouse was my strongest signal. There are no cell phone towers for miles here. And so basically I'm depending on neighbors' antennas, which there's only 2, and they're over 2 miles away from my house. So I'm depending on those to kind of bounce the signal back and forth for a live, and it's just not enough. And if it's windy, then it's really not enough. So as much as I love being live with you guys, it is so frustrating for me and for those of you who are trying to watch when a live is chopping in and out the way it has. And so I'm just going to discontinue my lives until my husband can get my cell phone booster installed. I thought I would try it out here into the greenhouse to see if it worked, and it doesn't work, even with the best of signal on my entire farm. So I'm just going to have to wait. Even though I love the community and the conversation, the comments that come through, we're just going to have to hold off because it's really frustrating for me and for you guys. So let's talk about liver. I do have notes I'm going to be referencing because I don't know all of this stuff and don't have it all memorized. We're going to be talking about liver tonight. So basically, liver is a powerhouse for your family. A lot of people have grown up being told that liver is bad for you because it has toxins in it, and I would really encourage you to look into the role of the liver and the fact that the liver actually doesn't store toxins at all. It simply sorts them like a USPS postal room at Christmas. And so I would look into that. I would also look into the role of your kidneys and what those do, because that's a very important thing to know. So when we're selecting liver, we want to make sure it's coming from a happy animal that was out in the sunshine, eating grass or eating bugs, and then in the case of a chicken, because those particular livers are much higher in the nutrients that you're after, and the reason why you're consuming the liver. So a lot of people are going to say, how do you get your family started on it? Okay, so we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. I'm going to talk about what I'm actually cooking tonight for dinner, because I can't show you, because I don't have any cell phone reception in my house currently. So but the reason why we eat liver is because it's a really good protein, for number one. Number two is it's the highest concentrated source of vitamin A, which is really important for overall health, but especially immune health for your immune system. It's also high in vitamin K if it's coming from the right sourced animals that we just discussed. Also, it's an abundant storehouse of B vitamins, especially B12 vitamins, so that's really good for you. It's a source of folic acid. It's a great source of iron for people who are anemic, or just people in general. Iron's good for almost all of us. It also is high in some trace minerals like copper, zinc, and chromium. In fact, liver is the best source of copper that you can eat, other than eating copper itself. It also has something that's called an anti-fatigue factor. They did some tests on lab rats with liver and found that the ones that consumed liver on a normal basis didn't tire as easily in some of their lab tests, okay? It's also high in CoQ10, which you need for cardiovascular health, so very, very important. So it also contains activator X, which is what Dr. Weston A. Price found on his journeys all over the world. And so that basically unlocks the nutrients in your body so they can be utilized. It's a fat-soluble vitamin. So that's important as well. She's getting kind of fussy, so we're just going to work with this because I'm not planning on editing this video. So how do you get your kids to eat it? So start with chicken livers. And chicken liver is a lot more mild tasting than a beef liver. And that's great. And what you can do is the goal of whatever liver that you're cooking is to not overcook the liver. When you overcook liver, the texture of the liver changes and it gets grainy and it's disgusting. Nobody likes liver that's overcooked. So what you're looking for is a liver, as you're sauteing the liver in your pan, you're looking for a medium rare type of scenario. So the outside of the liver will be gray, and the inside might still have pink juices running out of it. That is the best liver. It doesn't have the grainy texture, and it tastes delicious, especially when it's fried with onions and bacon. So tonight I'm going to be doing the onions and bacon for my family. So I will heat up a skillet. I will saute the onions with some butter and the bacon. And also we're going to be adding some Thousand Hills 100% grass-fed beef brats, hickory smoked brats from Azure Standard. We're going to chop those up in there, and it's absolutely delicious. So that's definitely something to try. And so I'm going to saute the onions and the bacon and the brats first, and add the liver last, so the liver doesn't cook for very long, okay? We don't want to overcook it. So the way I introduce this to my kids is I would take the chicken livers and put a little toothpick in each one and present it kind of fancy on a plate, and we ate it that way after it had been cooked either in, you know, bacon fat or whatever, just as I have described, to that medium rare type texture cooking level. So I was definitely advised you start with chicken livers. And then when you eventually do go to a cow liver, I would highly suggest, just like I suggested over in my video for crispy liver chips, is that with beef livers, I personally soak them in milk for at least an hour. You can soak it overnight if you forget about it and it's into the refrigerator, but soak that liver for an hour because it actually reduces the taste of iron within the meat. It tastes less livery. And then you can chop it up and saute it just like I discussed with the chicken livers, and your family will love it. Another option to get liver into your family would be to have pureed liver that you can add to meatloafs. A lot of times I'll order a whole animal at the butcher from an amazing grass-fed farmer, and we'll bring that home, and the liver will be partially frozen, and I'll grind that with our meat grinder, and I will freeze that into baggies so I can add it to our meatloaf. It's really, really good. You can't even hardly tell it's in there. And actually, after you start introducing liver to your family, you will notice that they start to crave the liver and they don't mind the taste of liver, okay? So that is what I had to say about liver tonight. I am so grateful that some of you guys showed up. We are inside the greenhouse right now. I might be able to do a quick update here on what's into the greenhouse. There's not much growing actually in the soil here, but we do have this whole flat of plants here that's looking pretty darn good. I think you guys can see those. So we've got peppers and tomatoes, and I've got lots of lettuce that's going to be getting planted over the next week or so into the greenhouse. And also out here in the greenhouse, we do have our meat chicks. This is the first year that we're raising our meat chickens in a greenhouse. It's nice and warm in here. We don't have to run heat lamps, except for on the really cool nights. And so they are in here. We also have some goat babies, and we're going to be expecting some goat babies over the weekend. So that was the one last thing I was going to mention, is that if our goat goes overdue with her babies and she's in labor, I obviously won't be having a cooking class next Tuesday. My goal would be for my husband to be able to have time this weekend to install this cell phone booster, and we can get together again live without it cutting out, hopefully. And that would be pretty much the only thing that I can do to improve my lives, other than paying for a landline to come into my home and somehow hooking the internet in with that. And we would be waiting a long time for that. So I'm going to try and get better at making videos during the week. My life's just been so crazy, and to be honest, it's been really, really hard to get back on the train of making regular content for you guys, just because I feel like my life has been uprooted over the last 4 months, and I feel like I'm just starting to get a grasp back on my life. And it's really hard for me to say I'm going to try and do that and promise it to you guys when I don't know what my week's going to look like. But things are starting to normalize, so stick with me. I will be putting out some more content, but we'll just have to see what next week holds. If my husband doesn't get the antenna installed, then I will do some more videos. Maybe I can do a video about us planting the lettuce. If you guys have any other video suggestions of things you'd like to see, let me know down in the comments. But we are a working farm here, so we've got, you know, the meat birds and the milk goats and all sorts of things. One other thing I did want to mention to those of you who have livestock is to look into something called the Mineral Buffet. It's something I'm new to. We are getting the mineral buffets installed hopefully this weekend. I have a big to-do list for my husband just in case he's watching this. And what it is a 20 mineral buffet setup. They're individual minerals, and your animals get to choose what minerals they need. It works amazing when animals are rotated in a pasture and their food nutrient intake is different every single day because they can select what they're low in. And they can also select whatever mineral they need to balance what they're high in. So they get to select it. It's super, super cool. So if you've never heard of it before, just go on to the internet and type in mineral buffet, and that company should pop right up. They have a starter pack for about $150, gets you all 20 minerals. And then if you have a lot of animals, you can buy them in bulk from another supplier that they recommend right there on their website. So look into that if you guys have animals that are out on the pasture. Other than that, it's getting super hot in here, which is why my face is super, super red because it's warm inside my greenhouse. Go figure. But I did just want to put out a video, you guys. I'm doing fine. I'm just getting really, really frustrated with the internet thing. So I'm going to try and put out different videos for you guys that aren't lives until we can get the internet situation fixed. But thank you so much for watching my videos, you guys. And I'll see you guys in the next one.